Hey everybody, it is Saturday. It's time for our sit and chat for Freeze Dry February. I'm so excited. I cannot believe that the month is it's nearing an end, guys. It's nearing an end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play each week in my intro. I go ahead and give you about 3 minutes to gather all your snacks. Maybe you're eating breakfast, grab your coffee. I've got mine. I need a refill. And I do this little 3-minute clip. So it gives you time to go ahead and share this video out so we can get more people in the chat so we can have an awesome Q&A session, because I think we're going to have a little extra time for that today. And then also any changes that happened to the week, any new people who are joining, any new prizes that were donated, all the fun stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and get that playing now, and you go share this out. And oh, there we go. Wrong button. And grab yourself a snack, and I'll see you in a bit. All right, guys. So hopefully I stepped away. Hopefully I got the updated things in there. Let's see. I want to get rid of this ticker before I go any further. This drives me bonkers. I don't get on here every week anymore, so I'm not into being able to get it as quickly. And one announcement I want to make, and I want to get it done, everything right done in the beginning. So before I forget, this is not sponsored by anyone other than myself and anyone else who is donating. So Harvest Right is the sponsor for the freeze dryer, and I am the sponsor of the collaboration. YouTube, StreamYard, Rumble, Facebook, Instagram, none of those are affiliated with this in any way. So now that we have that out of the way, I did have a big change this week. Our calendar changed a little bit. Some of the people got moved around a little bit. So next week's will be a little bit out, and we added Mountain Grandma. I'm so excited. You guys were asking for meals and jars, and that's what she's going to bring us. So you can look forward to that video next week, and I'm super excited about that. But I'm even more excited about today. I have a special guest. Are you ready? Give me a thumbs up if you are. All right, let's bring Isaiah up. Thank you so much for being here, Isaiah.
Hey, everybody. Thank you, Angela. This is awesome. I was able to join you last year, and I was really excited you invited me to be on again. So thank you.
Yeah. He was in last year and donated a ton of prizes like he did again this year. And he put out an amazing video last year. I'm trying to remember what it was. It was a food related video.
It was the taco soup.
That's right. The soup. Yeah. Yes. Because I was just watching that the other day, getting so excited for the video that you were going to make this year, which, let's see. Do we want to jump right into that? Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into that. We'll talk a little bit about your video. It was I can't say it right. It was curry. How do you say that?
Masaman.
Okay. I just don't want to say it wrong. Because isn't there like a food or a clothing that's similar to that?
Oh, what is it? Masamo?
Yeah. So I was like, I can just see myself saying the wrong
one.
one.
To high school.
Yes, I know. I'm aging myself, aren't I? Oh my. So that was his video this week, and I would like to actually talk about the beginning of your video, all the things that you were talking about that you're going to be giving away for this collaboration. Shall we start there, or maybe we need to back up a little bit? I get too excited, guys. Let's back up a little bit and let's find out who you are for those, because there's a ton of new people this year. So let's find a little bit about who you are and how you started Sophos Survival and how people can purchase these things from you.
Sure. Okay, so quick little bit about me. I live here in Utah, so we're in Mapleton, Utah. My business, Sophos Survival, I started it back in like 2016 as kind of a side gig. It was just like part-time thing in my
pre-pandemic then.
No, yeah, pre-pandemic. But the craziest timing was I was working 2 other full-time jobs up until the end of 2019. Great jobs. I was working as a pilot, a corporate pilot, and I was also running my dad's art business.
Wow.
So both kind of 2 full-time jobs, but running simultaneously. I was making good money doing that. I was having fun, but I was a little bit, burning the candle at both ends. And I had started Sophos Survival in the background and was kind of trying to run that. And that's really where my heart was. So I talked my wife into letting me quit those other 2 jobs and diving into Sophos Survival full time, because I was like, man, I really am feeling this. I want to dive in and make it happen. She's like, okay, let's do it. And
that's scary.
If you really want to thank somebody for all of this stuff, she's the one that's been super supportive and got me, encouraged me to go for it. So January 1st, 2020 was the first day that I was like officially full-time, just dove into it. And so I was working from home. I had this like front little bedroom office, and I set up a little table and a desk so I could do videos and demos. That's when I started doing videos. And it was 2 months later in February that COVID started just shutting stuff down, and it just started going wild. And so the timing was kind of crazy. With COVID, one of the things was that all the baking supplies, all the food and everything, it just disappeared out of the stores really, really fast, right? So I set up an account with Cisco, which is like a local, like a food distribution company.
Okay.
I think they're nationwide actually, but
Yeah.
they don't sell to just people. You have to have a business account. They sell to restaurants and stuff, but all the
Right.
restaurants were shut down. So I called them
Oh,
up. I was like, hey, I can't get a hold of like flour and wheat and rice and all the baking stuff. They're like, we have warehouses full of this stuff. Yes, please take it. Like, please buy stuff.
wow.
So I filled up my garage full of stuff. It was like, I felt like I was like a crack dealer, um, slinging bags of flour out of my
Smell like
garage.
eggs now.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it was crazy. So anyway, I was just like, people were coming to my house and picking stuff up, and all my neighbors were like, "What are you doing over here?" And it was really funny. So that's when I decided, hey, well, I might as well. I've always wanted to open up a store. Let's do it. I rented a little space down in Spanish Fork, and it just kind of grew, and that's how it got going. So we started up the retail store, and it was after COVID, like the end of 22, beginning of 23, things actually kind of started to go the other way. It started slowing down again because everything kind of tapered off. So now I've transitioned. I've got a little retail store still, but it's mostly online. So we do emergency preparedness stuff, like in general, survival kits, water tanks, food storage. I just wrote a book that we'll talk about here in a minute, but that is one of my things. A long time ago, I developed a 12-month guide, and it was like this 15 or 18-page thing about all the different categories and topics of emergency preparedness. I put it together in a little PDF. Well, I decided to take that and expand on it and turn that into a book. So I just put together all the material, a bunch of different stuff. It's about 180 pages, and each month of the year, it just talks about one category at a time. So it's like this pilot. I'm a pilot. I mentioned it's this pilot approach to emergency preparedness. And pilots, we use checklists and procedures and you know standard operations for everything. And so it's a very systematic, organized way to approach things. And that's what I wanted to do, just kind of take emergency preparedness and approach it that way.
I
And
love
so
this.
that's kind of the format that the book is written in.
That is awesome because there are so many people that go to get these things and they don't understand it. And sounds like yours is just going to be laid out there for you that they can take it step by step and figure it out. I love that.
Yep.
Oh, that is awesome. What a neat story. I don't think I know last year, I think when you were on, was it giveaway day? So it was wild. So we didn't get to know a ton about you. So I'm excited to take the time today to get to know a little bit more about you and your business. And what a leap of faith that you and your wife had to do that. And then it paid off, obviously, because the pandemic. And I did not remember that story about the garage. That is really cool how you were doing that.
Yeah, it was.
So you were able to help everyone. You were kind of like the middleman. You've got these big restaurant supply stores who don't know what to do with it. And then did you like break it down into smaller packages so that no, you didn't
I
have
was
to
just
even do that?
buy it in big bags. So I'd get the flour in either 25 or 50 pound bags, and
Uh-huh.
so I was just selling it at those quantities. And
Oh, well, people were probably freaking out and they would not mind to have the
I mean,
extra
yeah,
flour.
most people were buying multiple bags of beans and rice and
Wow.
flour and baking
So
soda.
it was pretty hands off. I mean, because I was thinking, if you had to repackage, that would take time and all
Oh
that.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
okay.
So plus, like, I don't have like the facilities to do any of that stuff. So I was
Right.
like, you know what? I'll sell it as is. I'll mark it up
Yeah.
a few percent and just try to,
But still, you're helping both ends. You were just the
yeah,
perfect middleman scenario.
yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. I kind of was doing that a little bit, but on a different aspect. During that time, there were people who couldn't get out of their houses to go get. The government had given like free food drives for anyone and everyone, the working, the poor, everything, and because it was like farmers were throwing away milk, and so
Mhm.
and schools had weren't getting their big things of chicken nuggets and all that stuff, and so it had to go somewhere. And so I had a delivery van because I had a bread route at the time, and so I would
Okay.
deliver to those who couldn't get out of their houses to go get in the lines and do it. So that was really cool how we could all think outside the box in ways to do different things. So that's awesome.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, so you've made this book, and tell us a little bit more about how you got into the freeze drying aspect of everything. Like, have you had a freeze dryer forever? Because you've got the 4-tray like I do, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got the classic medium. And so how it started is when I opened up my store, it was May of 2020 is when things officially got going. I had always, since Harvest Right kind of became a thing, which was a couple of years before I opened up the store, they kind of started becoming more popular. And I really wanted my own freeze dryer. It always intrigued me. I grew up doing, we canned and we dehydrated and things like that, but I really wanted a freeze dryer. And so with this business, and I'm like, okay, I'm in the emergency preparedness survival realm. Maybe I should become a dealer for Harvest Right. So I called them up, and they're actually they're about an hour north of me in Salt Lake City. And I called them up. I was like, hey, I want to become a dealer. They're like, great, we'd love to have you. I'll send you over a price list. And I got looking at that, and I didn't have a lot of cash to like get this business going. I had like 10,000. I had like $10,000.
Yeah.
And depending on how you look at it, that might be a lot, might be a little, because it doesn't go very far when you're trying to buy inventory.
Yeah, a couple machines and you're done.
Store. And so I got looking at that, like, man, I in order to do this, they want me to buy 5 machines to become a dealer. I was like, I can't even afford 5 machines. So I told them, I'm like, hey, can you guys let me buy 3 machines? Because that's all I got. I'm putting like all my eggs in this basket, and they're like, yeah, sure, that's fine.
Awesome.
So I ordered the 3 machines. One was going to be for me, because I was like, yeah, if I'm going to sell these things, I need to know
show how it works,
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I was really excited to get my own machine, but then I instantly sold those other 2 machines, and I was like freaking out. So I'm like, man, I just spent all my money. Is this going to be a bad thing or not? Sold them. I turned around. I called Harvest Right. I was like, hey, I sold those machines already. Can we bump this order up? They're like, yes. And so we just kind of kept them coming. I started sending out emails, and I was one of the only dealers here in my area at that point. There was a couple others, but I was the one that was really I knew what I was talking about because I was using my own machine. A lot of other places you go, like IFA or Cal Ranch or Home Depot or where everyone sells them now.
Right.
But most of the people don't know anything about them.
Yes.
And so I think that was kind of what made us successful selling them, is because I could kind of talk people through it and stuff. So we just started selling machines like crazy and became one of their bigger dealers here in the area. I'm only one location, but we did pretty well with it. So that's how I got into it. And I just, by doing all my videos and stuff, it just has kind of caused me to do a lot of different variety of things. And I don't know, it's just been kind of a fun learning process. And of course, the goal behind the scenes on that was to build my own food storage and diversify our preparedness plan and stuff. So it's been good. It's been fun to teach and show people, as well as just get my own stuff in order.
I'm going to pause for just a minute because I don't want the questions to get too far behind me. Not looking to sell products in bulks, but I want to help my friends and family. How do I get access to wholesalers? So for me, my best way to do wholesale is the closest thing I could do is Sam's Club or Costco membership, because you can still buy things in bulk. So like if you want to get that 50-pound bag of flour and you and a couple of friends split it, that's how I do it. But now Isaiah was able to get you want to explain a little more about that? You have to have a business license to get from like a restaurant supply.
Yeah, and in fact, to get a wholesale, it's becoming harder and harder to just set up wholesale accounts with people, because they want you to have an actual like brick and mortar physical retail location to set up a dealer account. A lot of times, if you have just a home-based business, or even if you do have a business license, they may or may not accept you as a dealer just because of the nature of your business. Yeah. So you're right. I buy a lot of stuff at Costco and Sam's Club as well. That's a really good name. Their pricing is awesome. Sometimes it's close.
It is
very close to what you would get as a dealer anyway.
Yes. So I agree, because there's in Kansas City, which is, a few hours from me, there is it's not Cisco, but it's like that. And the flour there is, within $1 or $2 in the big bags difference. And so if it's just for friends and family, that's the route I would go. And then we got one more here. Tara says she was able to feed 6 families with my pantry during the pandemic. Being prepared is so worth it. I totally agree. Good for you. congratulations for having that ready. And those who don't, maybe now they will. Hey, Killer Smurf. Hey. Okay, so now we talked a little bit about how you got a freeze dryer, and it was so nice that you were able to work with Harvest Right. This is just me. I may not benefit the rest of you, but I'm just curious. So, did you just decide to get mediums? How did you know small, medium, large? What would sell?
I ordered a variety from at the beginning. I did small, medium, large. The small almost never sold.
Okay.
And I also ordered some stainless steel as well as black and white. So I was trying to just test the waters. I found that 90% of my sales were medium and large, black or white machines. And
Very
most of them
interesting.
were premier pumps. Actually, back then there was 3 options. There was the standard pump, premier, and the oil-free.
Yes.
So I'd kind of order a variety. I'd keep everything in stock so that when my customers came in, I could just mix and match, give them what they needed. But really, we kind of narrowed it down to large and medium, black and white, because people don't usually love to pay the extra 100 or 2 for the, or even 3 for the stainless steel. So, or 1,500 for the
Can't do
oil-free.
it.
So that's kind of where it went. That's what I would usually
There it
stock.
is.
And I'd usually keep one small in stock and maybe one extra large. But yeah, it's kind of the standard.
I always tell people I suggest the medium just because you can move it around. I mean, you don't have to have a special dedicated box for it. Like you can plug it into any plug-in. You don't have to have an electrician. So that's why I chose the medium, just because I'm too indecisive.
Yeah, I would say I sell more mediums than large for sure, and that's usually the drawback or the deciding factor for people not being able to have a dedicated 20 amp circuit or that NEMA 520 outlet.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Harvest Right just sent out an email. They now are including an adapter for their water machines, so that you no longer have to have the NEMA 520 outlet. Their plug will plug into any standard outlet. They still recommend that you have a 20 amp circuit.
Okay.
Not have that special outlet anymore. And all their new machines are shipping out like that.
Very interesting. I missed that email. I'm glad that you mentioned that because that's a pretty big game changer.
Yeah. Yep. They'd have been smart to do that a long time ago, actually.
Yeah. But, like with us, you live and learn as things, progress in your businesses. So at least they're willing to, try to meet the needs of the customers. So that's good. So what got you into like the tray stackers? Do you make those yourself with like a 3D machine, or do you outsource those? How does that work?
So that happened through a freeze dryer sale, actually. The lady so they're manufactured locally. They're just down the road from me. One of my customers came in and bought a large machine. She owns an injection molding machine, or an injection molding company. They make all kinds of different parts and stuff. So she came to me and was like, hey, I've been freeze drying for a month or 2 now, and it's really annoying when I go to try to pre-freeze my trays, and I want to be able to just carry them all around at once. She's like, I've got this idea, help me develop it.
Oh, cool.
So
you did it
put our
together then.
heads together. We came up with this design and drew it up on the computer, and then she made a mold on it and started making these tray stackers, and we just started kind of going to town. She was the manufacturer and I was the seller. And so I put them on my Etsy page and put them on my website. Eventually we put them on Amazon as well. And they just kind of started selling. And it was this new thing. Now there's a whole bunch of knockoffs, and you go on Amazon and there's 20 different Chinese sellers selling the cheap rip-off things that don't work, or they're made out of cheap plastic. Anyway, that was how they got going. So, and then the same thing with like the dividers and the grids. Just kind of happened through us. So she makes them. I package them up and distribute them. And,
awesome. You don't have a sample with you. I didn't ask you to bring one, but
I'm going to give away these tray stackers right here.
Okay, awesome.
So let me just show you. It is this little corner piece that sits on the edge of the tray, and they're made specifically for the Harvest Right tray. So there's a little visual on what that does, and it just makes it nice because you can stack up all your trays. It makes it real easy to grab that whole year. Most people are preparing their food in their kitchen, and then, carrying their trays downstairs into a storage room or in another room. So you can just grab that whole thing, carry it with you, and then load it in your freeze dryer. Or if you're pre-freezing, you can just put that whole stack in there and they're not slipping and sliding and falling all over the place.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. That is so cool. And I love that story that you guys were both local and worked together because, I just love everybody who can support each other. That is fantastic. And then the Mylar bags. So how'd you get involved in that?
That was another thing. I was buying Mylar bags, and they can be pretty expensive. But I found a company that made a gusseted Mylar bag with the Ziploc top. So truth be told, I don't actually love the Harvest Right bags that much. I do they have one version that's the Ziploc gusseted. There's that small, they're 6x9. But I wanted a couple of different options. So I went and found a factory that could make my own. And, of course I had my requirements. I wanted it to be a true 7 mil per side thickness.
And can we pause for a second and have you explain what that means?
Yes. So you have to, with freeze drying, you want to have a nice sturdy bag. You can get away with some foods, you can get away with a 5 mil thick, and that's millimeters thick. You can get away with a thinner bag, but a lot of times with freeze drying, you've got, the food is kind of hard and crunchy and crispy, and it's got these little sharp edges. So if you put it in your bag and that oxygen absorber activates and it kind of shrinks this bag down, you put it in a bin of stuff and it's rumbling around in there. If those little sharp corners hit something and it punctures the edge of the bag, you can let air into your bag and then it will spoil your food over time. So the thicker bag makes it really nice. It just makes it more durable and, hardier. So that's why we wanted the thickness. And a lot of companies out there, they'll advertise a 7 mil bag. And you say, okay, 7 mil, that's great. But what they don't say is it's kind of a tactic where they will say, all right, 7 mil thick, but they're doing 3.5 mil per side. So a 7 mil total, but it's only 3.5 per side. So you have to be really careful when you go out there and buy Mylar bags. We wanted to make sure that it's clear that ours are 7 mil per side. So that's the thickness part of it. And then I wanted my bags to be able to stand up like this and sit there, because it's way easier when you're going to load up those bags and you're transferring food from your trays. It's annoying when they're falling all over the place. So putting the food in there, and then that Ziploc top is huge. Like you've seen in my videos, I'm a huge fan of making ready-to-eat meals. I'll fully cook, I'll cook a whole meal and prepare it on my trays just like I want to eat it for dinner. And then that way, when it's freeze-dried, I pack it in here and it's ready to go. I do a lot of backpacking, hunting, outdoor stuff. So I'm making a lot of my own, my own version of the mountain house meals or whatever, So that's kind of how I approach it. I want to be able to take these to lunch or to work with me. I want to take them out on my adventures, but also apply that to an emergency preparedness scenario. Having a ready to eat meal that's like one portion serving in an emergency type situation, I can just kind of distribute those meals and give everybody their own meal. And all you got to do is add water and it's ready to go. So
I would think that gusseted bottom would make it easier even for rehydrating.
That's kind of where I'm getting at. Yeah, it's easy to prepare. You can just set that on the countertop, pour your boiling water in there, and then the Ziploc top is nice because you stir your food around a little bit, seal that up, let it sit there for 10 minutes, and it's rehydrated and ready to eat.
Keeps that heat in.
When you're out on the trail or wherever too, yeah, it just sits there and it's easy. And then to eat out of it, hence the wide mouth. The wide mouth is nice because it makes it more of a meal pouch. A lot of the other bags you'll see are kind of tall and skinny, and it's hard, you're sticking your hand down in there, you're getting over your hand, and it's not the end of the world, but it's kind of annoying. This shorter, wider version, it's easy to just get out of.
Think walking tacos,
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome.
We do a lot of snacks too. So if you're doing strawberries or bananas or whatever, it's easy to get them out, and then you can push the air out and reseal it, and then your food is just going to last a lot longer on a snack as well.
Yeah. Okay, we've got a couple other questions. I I read it out loud just because of some of the other places where this streams to, they can't always see it. So I always read it out loud. And they can't see the comments when they watch the replay. So I live in a small suburban house. Have you heard most people stage their machine? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I don't have a basement. Also, does the freeze dryer add humidity to the room where it is located? I think humidity is just an area thing. Like, I think the humidity is totally different in Utah than it would be in Kansas. And it's seasonal too for us anyway.
Yeah.
Do you have some feedback on this question?
Yeah. So the first part of the question, where have you heard most people stage their machine? In houses, if you don't have a lot of space, it's kind of hard to find a spot for that thing to live. So we've got a lot of people that keep them on a cart. Get like a cart from Harbor Freight or whatever. I think Harvest Right sells one now, but you can get one and just stick it on there, and then you can wheel it around. So if you need to keep that thing in a closet or tucked in the corner, whatever, and then when it comes time to use it, you can pull it out, bring it into your kitchen, and bring it out into. I mean, you can stick that thing in your living room if you need to, but that's kind of a good way to do it. I've had people keep them in their laundry rooms and their, in a storage closet. You can put it in your garage. It's probably best to be indoors if possible for cleanliness and temperatures. But anyway, you get creative with it. Just make sure that it's got enough room to breathe. You don't want to cover up the sides and the back. As far as the humidity part of it, the machine, when it's pulling the moisture molecules out of the food, it actually freezes it inside the machine into a block of ice. So you're not actually adding humidity.
I think she means like the ambient. Like, does the machine itself, like, it puts off heat, but does it also put off humidity? I'm guessing is what she was asking.
Right, and it doesn't, because that machine, that moisture stays within the machine in a block of ice until afterwards, and then it melts, and you pour it down the drain.
I think the humidity is going to be what you have in your environment when you start.
Yeah. Yep.
Tara says, it's so important to support small businesses. I would rather support individuals instead of huge corporations. They think outside the box and help you by sharing their knowledge. 100% agreed with that. Because look at that, by his neighbor or community member supporting him, then she came to him with an idea and he was able to support her. And then together they were able to come up with an amazing idea. So 100%.
And thank you so much, by the way. Small business, it's tough. Like it's hard to survive sometimes. It's an up and down thing. And, of course, we always appreciate the support. By the way, we can ship. We are we're still a dealer for Harvest Right. We can ship anywhere in the country. So if anybody needs any size or machines, they just came out with a new commercial grade machine. Anyway, we can get those shipped out to you for free, basically anywhere you want. And they will show up right to your door.
US,
so
right?
That to me.
US only, right?
Yeah, that's where I'm set up to.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to clarify that, because like the giveaway is US and now they do Canada. So it's that expanded from years past, but like Australia and things like that, I don't think that's an option as of yet through like an individual like you probably.
If you had a question and you wanted to work it out, you can always contact me and I'll see what I can do. I can work toward it.
I don't know 100% how customs work, but I know in the past, sometimes it has been Harvest Right. When I gave away my first freeze dryer, said if they wanted to pay the shipping, then they could get it or whatever type of thing. So maybe that would be something that you could privately talk over with Isaiah. I'm going to let you take this question.
Okay. Does Mylar ever leach plasticizers? So if you have a good quality Mylar bag, there's actually 3 layers to the Mylar, and I can't remember the names off the top. They're long plastic names, but basically there's a food grade plastic barrier, then there's an aluminum barrier, and then another plastic barrier over the top of that. If it truly is food grade and properly made, it will not leach anything into the food, and it will not allow any moisture or light in and out of that bag. So if there are knockoffs, there are cheap, terrible quality bags that are not made in proper facilities and stuff. So do your research, your homework on the dealer and where they're made. But typically the bigger brands they've gone through all the steps they need to make sure that those are safe.
Amazing answer. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you were here to explain that to them
Yep.
fully. Um, Now we're already about halfway into our time. I have really, really enjoyed learning from you, but I do think I should go ahead and jump into the next one because it kind of goes with what we've talked about, and that's our Fun Fact Friday. So every Friday, let's see if I can put this up here. Do you guys recognize this? Okay, I do that on my community tab every Friday. I just chose the top 5 questions. And so this week was, how long do freeze-dried foods last? Freeze-dried foods typically have a shelf life of 10 to 25 years, depending on the type of food and storage conditions. Proper storage in a cool, dry, and dark environment, such as sealed containers with oxygen absorbers, will maximize their shelf life. However, the exact shelf life varies by food and packaging, which I feel like we just kind of touched base on that with the Mylar. And another way that you can store things are in glass. And the difference between, let's see, we were talking about oxygen absorbers that will pull all the oxygen out. And he mentioned that with the Mylar, you could throw that in there and it'll suck it down. Now, I don't know, do you do much in glass jars? Do you have comments on whether or not you use oxygen absorbers in there?
I have done some in glass jars. We do that when we want it to look nice and pretty. We put those in our pantry, and those are typically ones that we're eating
Yeah.
regularly. I do all of my long-term storage in the
Yeah.
Mylar bags because they're lightweight, they're cheap, they're not, glass jars are nice in some ways, especially if you have a ton of them laying around, if you do canning and stuff. But they're heavy, they're fragile. It's hard, like they're harder to like grab and go. So they're totally good. Another thing about the glass jars is they do let light in. So you want to make sure if you do put them in the glass jars that you're putting them in a dark room and they're not gathering light over time. Otherwise, it'll kind of degrade the quality of the food. You'll see the color start to fade out of the food over time.
100%. That's the way I am too. Long term goes in Mylar, short term would go in my glass. So I can actually see what I have and actually use it. And I don't usually use oxygen absorbers with my glass. I usually use like desiccants. And so that's the route that I use. But I mean, everybody has kind of their own favorite mix of how they like to do it. But that now that we've touched base and we've done our fun fact, usually I then slide into the videos of the week, and we're going to actually do them backwards so that we can talk about Isaiah's video, and then he can slide out and do his other commitments, and then we'll finish the rest of the week. So on yesterday, the 21st, we had the Masaman. Did I say that right?
Close.
Curry. Masama. Okay. Anyway, the curry. So I usually talk about 3 things that I loved, and I just have to put it out there. Towards the end, your helper. That was my favorite. I know it had nothing to do with freeze drying and all that stuff, but I absolutely love that you brought in your daughter and you had help and showed that, yeah, the kids can get involved in this process too.
Oh, she loves it. She loves to help. She's like the best little helper. Sometimes kids they're making a mess and they're spilling things, but it's the best. Like she'll sit there and she'll help me do this for like hours. Like we'll sit there. She wants to help package stuff up and scoop things and help make the food. It's awesome. So it really is. And my older kids too, they love being involved. And
this is just going to be normal for them. So, like if you and your wife were to get this sick, influenza or something, your older kids will know, okay, I don't want to turn on the stove or something, but they'll be able to go get one of those bags that you've made together, and they'll know, okay, this is what I can have for a snack, or this is what I can add, water or whatever to, and they'll be able to jump in and help out when you might be down.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's great. It'll just be normal to them. It won't be freak out mode. So I think that's great.
And we do it. It's kind of a lifestyle for us. Like they're all trained up. They know where all of our food is down in the food storage. It's all stacked neatly in bins and it's all labeled and stuff. So, and we use it, like I said, we go camping and hunting and backpacking stuff. They'll go and they're totally self-sufficient. They can just grab, we've got a 13, almost 14-year-old and an 11-year-old. And man, they can just take care of themselves. They'll go grab what they need. They can prepare it. They know how to boil the water and all that stuff. And
yeah, that's awesome. That's great. Anyone in the chat that has questions about that video or comments about that video, this is a great opportunity to actually get to talk to the video creator about that. I don't know if you've all had a chance to watch it. It came out last night. Let's see. I loved how you were able to also personalize it because you're like, I like lots of sauce. And I was like, you're my kind of eater. You know, I like lots of sauce too. I mean, I like rice and everything too, but my ratio would be heavy sauce for sure. So can you adjust that, you think, like when you go to rehydrate? If it was a little too thick or too thin when you made it, you could probably adjust that with how much you rehydrate that with. I mean, I would assume water, but my thought also is I like to rehydrate with broth. Just gives it a little extra flavor.
Yeah, and it's all totally. I'm actually a lot of people get really into the quantity. Like you can weigh the food before you freeze dry it, and then weigh it after, and do the math and figure out how much moisture was pulled out and everything. I don't get that crazy. I just, and that's great if that's how you like to do it. It's totally fantastic. I just pretty much eyeball it. I add as much water as I think I need. I try to err a little bit on the light side, so I don't put in, if I'm not sure how much water goes into something, err on the light side. And then if it's too dry still, I'll add a little bit more water and just kind of make it the consistency I want. But yeah, you can kind of control that. If you want it a little soupier, just add a little more water. If you want it a little drier, add a little less. Or broth. Broth is a fantastic idea. I like to use that as well, especially when I'm doing meats and like soups and stews and things like that.
Yeah. Sonia said that the video was inspirational and she's looking at deciding to buy. So that was awesome. I'm going to give you one more question. Then I know you probably have to skedaddle, but Carol says, so do you not put freeze-dried food in the freezer type bags you use with a vacuum sealer? I'm assuming not as good as Mylar. So I personally have used them for short-term storage, like candies and things, just for, like if I'm preparing for a baby shower or something, I'll stick them in that and then take them to the shower and then use them rather than the glass, because I kind of save my Mylar. But what's your take on that one?
Yep. So the regular vacuum seal bags are great for, like you said, short-term use, freezer use, but they are semi-permeable. So it's the aluminum layer that's in the Mylar bags that make it so that the air and the light and moisture doesn't permeate through that layer. So if you want the ultra long-term storage, like most people are going for with the freeze-dried stuff, you want the Mylar. Having said that, though, yeah, the other ones, a lot of people, when you buy freeze-dried food or candies, you'll see that it's got like a clear front or the entire bag's clear. Totally fine for the short term.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it. I know you had a very, very busy day today. And everybody, I'm so glad you all popped on this morning. We're not done yet, so don't leave, everybody. But you want to show your book real quick again?
Sure.
That will actually be today's giveaway, but he won't be here. We're going to do it at the very end, but I'm going to let him say any last few words on that he'd like to say.
Sure. Yeah. Sorry, I can't stay longer. I got to go pick up my son, and we're going to go do a couple of things today. But this book, so I'm actually still right in the process of getting it published. I'm waiting on some files back from the publisher to approve, and then we'll get another proof printed. And then once that happens and I can approve it, then they'll send out our initial shipment. I've had a bunch of people pre-order the book from me already. It will be available in the paperback version as well as an ebook version. So at some point I'll have that on my website, and then you can go on all the major platforms. You can get them on like Google Play and Amazon and Kindle and all the different places. But I'm the type that I like to have the physical book in my hand.
Me too.
So I think the paperback, especially for our community, I think the paperback is going to be the most popular. But what it is, so this book it's a 12-month systematic approach and guide to practical preparedness. I personally,
so not just freeze drying.
Not just freeze drying. No, this covers all the different topics from, how to build a 72 or a 96-hour kit, food storage, water storage, and I touch on freeze drying, but I touch on the other ways of, methods of food storage as well. Water storage, how you properly do that, how much you need, how to get the right tanks, how to sanitize your tanks, treat your water, all that stuff. And then we talk about communication and radios and vehicle preparedness and financial preparedness. I mean, we talk about all these different things. I have 12 different categories, and each month of the year is a new focus. So
I love that.
Preparedness is kind of a hard thing. Like it's overwhelming. There's a lot to it. It can be really expensive. And a lot of times, like us as people, like we don't do things if we don't have some kind of a plan or approach or way to do it, especially if it's a big task. Like, I don't know, say for example, you want to go run a marathon. It's a big lofty goal, right? Well, you can't just tell someone, all right, okay, go train, go do a marathon. Well, it's like, all right, you got to have a training program. You got to have potentially a coach. You got to get the right equipment. You got to go and you ramp up your mileage over time. You have this plan, and then you work that plan and you go get ready for that marathon. If we don't have a plan for things, we just don't do it. Eat the elephant a bite at a time. That's exactly. And in fact, I use those exact words in here.
Oh, funny.
You got to take it small, bit by bit. So that's why I go 1 month at a time. We'll say, all right, this month we're focusing on our home safety inventory. We're going to go figure out what it is we need to do. We're going to have, we're going to get all the different supplies we need. I put checklists in there and a systematic approach to do that small chunk. And then we move on to survival kits. And then we move on to food and water and on and on, first aid. So that's just kind of the approach. I'm a practical preparedness type of person. I'm a real life prepared, you call me I call myself a prepper, but the word prepper kind of gets a little bit of a, I don't know.
I have a bad rap sometimes.
Bad rap.
Yeah.
It's not doomsday prepping. It's not,
right.
The apocalypse is coming, or, it's like, hey, there's practical things. There's things that happen to us in real life.
Yep.
Maybe we're in a car accident. Maybe we get stranded. Maybe we lose a job, or a spouse loses a job and things are tight and we need to rely on that food storage. Maybe my kid gets hurt on his bike and I need to perform some basic first aid. Maybe I'm out to dinner with my wife and somebody falls over and is choking on something or having a heart attack and I need to help with CPR. Maybe, I don't know, there's just, maybe somebody breaks into your house and you've got to be able to defend yourself. There's a lot of different scenarios that are just like real life things, but not like, hey, we need to go build a bunker in the backyard and we need to survive in the wilderness for extensive amounts of time. That's not what this is at all. And in fact, I can't stand companies and people who do like the fear tactic based, like extreme survival stuff. There's maybe a time and a place for that. It's different, but this is a practical guide. So that's what the book is. It's available on my website, sophossurvival.com right now as a pre-order. And then when we get those in, we'll ship them out.
Let's see if I can do this right. Well, I'll try it this way. Oops. If I could spell. C-O-M. Let's see if it'll put up a link. I didn't put the HTTP in front of it, so it may not work. But anyway, I tried to put that link out there. Isaiah, I'm going to let you go for now. You have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. You were so full of information. I could have talked to you for another hour, but we all have things we've got to get done today. So
yeah, well, thank you. It's been a pleasure to be on here. I could stay here for another hour and talk, but I appreciate you including me. And again, just to everybody watching, this has been so much fun. I really love being included in this. One thing I love about this group and this community, all the people following this freeze-dried February, I'm amazed by the comments on the video. One, there's a really good engagement. I have a lot of people commenting and stuff. So I'm grateful for that, but I love that everybody's so grateful. I love that everybody's, saying things like, hey, thanks for sharing the recipe. Thanks for your knowledge. Thanks for being a part of this freeze-dried February thing. And I appreciate that. I love it. It's the reason I'm here doing this is because of all of you. And I love to teach and share. And I think it's a like-minded thing. Like we all just love to create this cool community. And I don't know. So thanks to you, Angela, for putting this together. And it's just, it's fun to be a part of.
Okay. Well, thanks again. We'll see you next time.
Have a great day. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Okay, guys, we are down to like 10 minutes. Wow, that went fast. Okay. This is a good one. You know what? That will be for Q&A next week. speaking of that, next week is the big giveaway on Friday night, but I am going to go ahead and do the Saturday sit and chat next week because I know I'm going to have a ton of questions and we want to go over all the videos that get posted this next week too. I don't want to leave them out. So I will, let me do it right now. 7 ml harvest right bags. Okay. That will be answered at next week's Q&A. So let's go ahead and move on to what videos were posted this week. Today's video at the time that I was preparing for this live has not come out yet, so it will be included on next week. So let's go ahead and let's stay and go backwards now since we went ahead and did Isaiah's from yesterday on the 20th. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and let me share this. Here it is. On the 20th, we had, go all the way down, Linda's Pantry. She had the, oh yeah, the muffins. So I'll pause that. We'll bring that up so you can see that. She did the freeze-dried raspberries with white chocolate cream cheese muffins. Y'all tell me what you thought of that video. I was drooling. I'm like, cream cheese? Are you kidding me? So what Linda did, the 3 things that I took off of that is that she rehydrated her raspberries before. She did some with and some without. She talked about having made some cookies with it. And it left a little bit of a crunch, which was neat and interesting if you wanted that. But if you want that burst of flavor, the juice, you know, from the raspberries, you'll want to rehydrate them a little bit. The second thing was that you could do cookies, muffins, and so many more things, waffles, pancakes, whatever. And then the third thing was she was using purchase products. So she does not have a freeze dryer. She actually is a Thrive Life consultant. And so she really enjoys having that pre-made product because I know there's a lot of you out there who don't have a freeze dryer or may not want one at this time, or you know it's just not in the budget at this time. You're working towards it, but you still want to use things that are freeze dried just so you know what it's like. And so I try to always include a few different people who do that, and that was Linda's video. Let's see. Yes, I agree, Marge. Those muffins did have lots of flavor. Yeah, it is fun. She does do random videos often, so she is someone who uses them quite a bit. And let's see here. And then we'll back up. And the next video we had was with Rogue Preparedness, and her video was fun, and it was one of the shorter videos that we've seen, so that was kind of nice to not have a big long video to watch, but yet she got to the point and she told us all about why she likes freeze drying. And you all keep talking in the comments. I'm just going to talk through this a little faster because I understand your time is important, and I try to stick as close as I can to this 1 hour mark. She talked about all the fruits. They love all sorts of fruits for snacking, and that she will actually go and buy them in bulk, whether they're frozen or fresh, just to freeze dry for snacks, which I thought was really cool. And there were some other things like cinnamon rolls and stuff that she did. She talked a little bit about you can choose to pre-soak if you want on the fruits. If you stick them in and get them frozen right away, it's not always necessary, but it does look a little bit better on things like apples, bananas. And then she talked about times that you do and don't want to use parchment, or maybe not do or don't want to, but are more necessary than others. I can't remember if she said maybe bananas was one that she likes to use. And then she talked about yogurt bites, how she doesn't take the time to squeeze them out individually, but that she'll do a whole sheet, but not with Greek yogurt because it gets flaky. And that is so, so true. Let's see. Not in my budget yet. I appreciate the videos that rely on source part. I'm so glad that that is helpful for you. I know, Sonia, we like freeze-dried fruits for snacks. They really, really are good. I like that I can vacuum seal several jars at once in my freeze dryer. Yes. that is a good point. That's something no one else has talked about, that you can actually use your freeze drying machine as a vacuum sealer. Isn't that cool? That is so cool. Okay, thank you for reminding me. It was the bananas. Oh, I tell you what, any of us that have went out and purchased it on our own, we are with you on that one, saving. My autistic 6-year-old love freeze-dried strawberries as snacks. Just get so dang expensive. I know they do, but use it as a special treat. And remember that when it's freeze-dried, it's not weighing as much as like fruit from the store. So if you think about it, what the difference is, and different places that you can buy it have different prices. Like you can get freeze-dried fruit at the Dollar Tree, but do your research on what works for you. Let's go back up to the next one.
Them up.
There we go. That was Minimalist Home Living. She's another new channel this year to freeze dry February. And she did easy freeze dried shepherd's pie, which was really cool. That was interesting. I have not done shepherd's pie like whole like that, like she has. And she talked about how you can adjust the ingredients. Well, flavor wise, obviously, like if you like a more meat or if you like more veg. And she, for example, likes less potatoes on hers. She talked about cooking in batches, use what you have. She had to do the 5 tray. And so that was a lot of food to do if she wanted to fill her freeze dryer with just that one item, that one food. And so, she had to make a large amount. And so she made a couple casserole dishes full of that, but she used the Instapot to help with time. But if you don't have it, it's not a big deal. And then she talked about rehydrating and packaging and how it really kind of kept its shape, which surprised me. I figured the potatoes would completely separate from the meat, and she'd kind of just packed them in little squares. And so that was really cool. Let's see. Trying to decide when to dehydrate versus freeze dry. Well, for me, freeze drying is like that tool that I can use for sure. When I started out, was the things that I didn't like freeze dried, I tried dehydrating, or vice versa. The things I didn't like dehydrated, I didn't like the texture, whatever. I tried them freeze dried to see if I liked them. Same with canning. There are things that are not safe to can, but I could freeze dry. And so that was a starting point for me. And from there, it goes on to flavor and texture, in my opinion. That was a huge surprise, says Faith. I'm learning how versatile freeze drying is. It really is. It really, really is. It kind of opens up the world of food preservation and just food prep. I mean, it doesn't have to be for long term, which we'll talk about in a little bit. I think in the next video, I'll talk about that one, which was Moon and Magnolia. So let's bring hers up.
Hey, welcome back.
There we go. Moon and Magnolia. She did Ultimate Guide to Freeze Drying in Small Spaces. Hey, you got on just in time. We're actually talking about your video. My 3 takes that I am going to share with you off of that one was fitting freeze drying into everyday life. So basically she's saying, get in there, use it. You don't have to just sit on this food forever. Make it part of your everyday life and part of your meal prep. It doesn't have to be meat food storage. It could just be meal prep. I love that. And she talked about going vertical. So if you have your freeze dryer up on a cabinet or a cart underneath, you could make room for storage. And I think many of us do that. Like mine is up on a table, and under that table, I have shelves with bags. I have my cheese cave fridge, and it's just different things. So definitely, I know, perfect timing, right? That was amazing. Packaging. She talked about jars and bags, and just depending on what product you use, you might want a jar or a bag. So she talked about like putting some things that I think she had tomatoes, yeah, that she put in the back of her pantry, but then her herbs she had up front so that she was using them. And so I thought that was really good. Since you're in here, if there's anything else that you wanted to share that you wanted people to take from that, please put that in the comments. And then anyone else who has a comment on this video, please go ahead and share it. So Grammy, this is awesome. Grammy wants another freeze dryer. Mine is going constantly. So that is awesome that you're using it so much. I absolutely love that. And let's see. Killer Smurfs, I love that she showed that we could still have this in smaller spaces. For sure, because that's always a big question everybody has is, you know, where am I going to put this thing? How am I going to do this? And she does touch base on that. I mean, everybody, even if you have a huge house, there's never enough room, right? At least that's my thought. I went from a smaller house to a bigger house and thought I'd have all this room. And no, I didn't. Big, good stopping point there. And then on Sunday, we had food prep guide. Homemade ramen noodle jars. So you guys were kind of wanting to know about foods in jars, and she kind of touched base on that. Let's see here. I'm going to hit these comments real quick. Okay, so Charisse says cooking the veggies in broth instead of oil was a great idea. Yes, 100%, because I think Isaiah was even talking about that in his video where he said, if you're wanting it for long-term storage, don't cook this in the oil. Don't use those fats. So yes, very good catch on that one. That should have probably been one of the points that I mentioned too. And she says that my best advice for small space storage is to freeze dry what you'll actually use. That way you can move through it in a timely manner. 100% nail on the head. I love that because honestly, I think that's for any food storage, don't you think? Like, don't can it if you don't like it. Don't freeze it if you're not going to eat that meal. You know, like if you don't like lasagna, why are you freezing lasagnas? So I think that's awesome. Sonia says, I was thinking about the garage, but it may be too dusty. Well, you know, everybody's garage is different. I've been to garage sales and these people are immaculate, like heated garages and all that. Some garages could be cleaner than some people's kitchens, I'm sure. It just depends on who you are. But maybe if you know that it gets dusty when you're not using it, you could put like some sort of a cover over it to kind of protect it. Maybe that might be an idea. I like having mine in a temperature controlled area so I don't have to worry about it getting too hot or too cold. Oh, awesome. 12 ramen noodle jars yesterday. How loud if inside a smaller house? Well, it's going to be just as loud no matter where you put it. But to me, I don't get bothered by it, but it's just kind of something I guess I've gotten used to. It's downstairs. I have the preservation station. And so I always have noise, you know, it's always a dishwasher or something. Something's always going. But I know other people have said it really bothered them having it, like Michelle said, in her living room. That really, really bothered her. So I just think it depends on your own personality and where it is in your house. Okay, so back to food prep guide. She talked about controlling the ingredients. So like you can really cut back on sodium and stuff like that. She explained really good about dehydrated versus freeze-dried food. So she showed you how you could make the ramen kits with dehydrated and with freeze-dried, which was really nice because some of us were still in the dehydrated mode. We haven't quite gotten into the freeze-dried yet. So that was really neat. And then her tips with the pasta I thought were kind of fun. She talked about how she gets the really, really thin ones and then she kind of crunches them up into smaller pieces so that it's easier to cook or rehydrate. And then she also talked about how you can pre-cook them to have instant, which that's what I have done in the past for my little kits. Hey, Penny, you're not late. You're not late. We'd love to have you whenever you can get here. Okay, so I quickly got through all that. We're only about 4 minutes past time, which is a miracle in itself, I think. And so I talked really, really quickly through those, but I want to say a few things again, just to clarify. I think I had some people ask, someone said they had theirs on dollies. I think someone asked about right before Isaiah left was about what time the giveaway was. So if there was any other questions that I missed or things that you wanted to say, all caps, and that'll grab my attention at this point. Oh my, Deb, I have to say this though. This is too hilarious. Depends on your age too. My 70-year-old years have forgotten what loud is. That is too funny. Too funny. So the big giveaway, you all want to know about that. So our huge giveaway day is March 1st, 6 p.m. right here on the Inquisitive Farm Wife. And that's when I will be giving away all the prizes. The Harvest Right freeze dryer, they will be sending me a list of everyone who used that special link, and we will be able to draw from that list. And then everyone else who has been commenting and liking and sharing and doing all the things with the videos, I have additional prizes that we're going to be giving away that day. And just like today, when you attend the live, I have a giveaway for that too. So I have lots of giveaways that you can earn lots of different ways, because I think it's just more fun that way. So that will be on March 1st. And then on the 2nd, I am going to go ahead and have that Saturday sit and chat where we will talk about the final Freeze Dry Friday tidbit, your tip for the week. And then that week's videos. Likely there'll be another giveaway, but so you can count on that. One more week, we will get together and discuss the amazing content. But the big giveaway day will actually be on the 1st. And so I wanted to touch base on that. Okay, I think that is all I had for today. I didn't have any real Q&A questions from last week that we did not touch on. If anyone has any questions, now's a good time to start adding them. If you're watching the replay, put them in the comments below and they will get talked about next week. But while we are waiting on those questions to come in, what I want for you to do, I need to push the share button. There it is. There. Hashtag Sophos. And so we're going to give away that book that Isaiah was telling us about. He's going to give us a book today to one lucky winner. And I think he'll ship the book just about anywhere. I think it can be shipped anywhere. And Beth, if you're talking about what time it will be on Saturday, that will depend on what time my guests, where it works out for them. So like, for example, this week we did in the morning because it worked out for Isaiah because he had other things going on. Last week, I had something going on in the afternoon. And so we had it early afternoon. So I'm not sure what time next week's Saturday sit and chat will be until the special guest and I work that out. But you look on my community tab and I will have that out. So if you are on Facebook and YouTube, that will come out usually a couple days before. Rumble lets me put it out like the day before. So just be watching on my YouTube community tab would probably be the easiest to where you're going to find it. Or if you are subscribed to my channel, then you are set. Now, all the way up at the tippy top of this page, I have a link to Harvest Right. If you have any questions about Harvest Right, go follow that link. They have great Q&A areas. They explain all about the machines, and they explain the different sizes and how much food each machine can process at one time. I mean, it's a great place to get lots of information. And I haven't really taken the time to promote Harvest Right sales very much. So I'm going to take a little time today while we're waiting on you guys all to put in your hashtags so that we can give away this book. I am an affiliate with Harvest Right. If you use that special link that's way up there and you decide to make a purchase, let me know. And if I track that you did that, then I would like to share a special gift with you. But they, for the first time ever this month, have played around with a discount code. So yes, the freeze dryers are all on sale this month. They all have sale prices. But if you use the code LOVE100, they'll give you an extra $100 off the sale price of a freeze dryer, which is awesome. So I know many of you watching these videos have been on the line. Wow, amazing. An extra $100 off. I'm going to throw this one out there at you too. If you purchase a freeze dryer and if you win a freeze dryer, you can either choose to have 2 freeze dryers, or Harvest Right will refund that first freeze dryer, and so it will then become a free freeze dryer. So anyway, I wanted to let you know, if any of you are on the line anyway, now is an amazing time to jump in and get a freeze dryer, because it is a first time ever special discount code that can be used in conjunction, in addition with their sale prices. So that was really cool. I was excited when that announcement went out. And like I said, if you choose to purchase through my link, as a special thank you to you, I will send you a gift. If I have a couple in here that have received that. And I think I even have year one's winner in the house today too. So yes, it is real. You will get a gift from me. And yes, it is real. Harvest Right is giving away a freeze dryer. So we have people here today that can testify to that. And it looks like we have 21 entries and 29 people here. So I'll give it about 10 more seconds to put in your hashtag, and then we'll have a winner. All right, here we go. Hope you got your name in. Who's it going to be? Cindy, congratulations. Okay. Oh, Rosie Bro, I think that you missed it just by a few seconds. Darn it. I'm so sorry. Maybe next week. Let's see if I can find this where it says it. Here it is. Okay, Cindy, this is what you'll need to do. You'll need to email me, theinquisitivefarmwife@gmail.com, so that I can hook you up with Isaiah and we can get that book shipped to you. So why don't you give me your name and your mailing address when you send me that information, so I can forward it to him, and then he can get that sent out to you as soon as he gets them. It sounds like it's a pre-order thing right now. He only has so many physical ones. He may have enough for the giveaway. I'm not sure, but if it doesn't come, within a week, it's okay. It's coming. You met Isaiah today. He's a sweet guy. So, just email me and we'll get that going. Let's see. We'll stop that and we'll stop that. Back to comments. Make sure I don't have any questions before we say, oh, good. I'm glad you saw it and you didn't step out for a minute. Congratulations. And, oh, yep, she's still here. This is the winner of the 23 freeze dryer. Is that right? I think so. So anyway, yes, it's a lot of fun. And I really, really appreciate all of you. And I'm so excited to announce that I will do this again next Saturday. So we will see you this week with all the amazing creations. So that today's video will be considered part of next week. So you'll have up to 10 videos next week, I think. I don't remember for sure. So next week's going to be a huge week, and make sure that you're looking in the description box of the videos you're watching so that you can go on that special link through Harvest Right so that you can win a medium Harvest Right freeze dryer. So thank you all, and we will see you next week.